good? I hear a little chimes. Let me pop over there. The take-home quizzes are like the practice test. So let me just open the first one so you can see what it looks like. So I'm going to come to Blackboard. You don't have a take-home quiz due until, oh, not for quite a while. Tuesday the 6th. Yeah, I didn't do a take-home quiz for this week because I knew we're just like trying to get used to the course. You're going to be doing a lot of my math lab stuff. So there's no take-home quiz this week. But next week there's a take-home quiz, and it's always due the following Tuesday. So I'll always give you a whole week to work on the, or at least a weekend to work on the take-home quiz, so you can get help from tutors or from me if you need to. But anywho, the first quiz, just to show you what it looks like, when you go to the written work tab in the Blackboard menu, it'll be just like the practice tests from the previous course. I'm just not calling them practice tests, calling them take-home quizzes. So, there's a hyperlink here, just like in the calendar. When you open that up, it's a PDF file. So when you open that up, well, that should be a PDF file. I'll go fix that. I'm glad I clicked on that. It's linked in the calendar. Let me link it out of the calendar. Okay, so when I click that, yeah, it should open up a take-home quiz. Yeah, so where you're just like test questions, you're going to write out your solution. You'll scan the work and upload it. And when you're ready to upload it, just like with the practice tests, you click this link here, and it'll take you to somewhere where you can like browse your computer and attach a file. So when you scan your work as a PDF file and save it to your computer, you'll just attach it here. Okay. Did that, Corey, did that answer your question about the take-home quizzes? Awesome. Okay, yeah, she said awesome. Okay, cool. So let's talk about my math lab really quickly. So you will have to re-register for a new My Math Lab course. So the course fees in the 4-week, that's no longer available. So you have to go through that whole process of registering again for the new course. But you only do this once. So once you do the registration process, you're done. So when you click here on course materials in the Blackboard menu, and you click accessing your My Math Lab interactive tools here, I've already registered, so it's going to be a pain in the butt. Before you click that, make sure you highlight, you copy and paste this access code, because when you click that link at the top, it's going to ask you to either sign into My Math Lab, which you can do if you've used it before with your old login and password, or it's going to ask you to register for My Math Lab. And you'll register for My Math Lab like you register for any website, email address, password, all that. So once you're into My Math Lab, it's going to ask you for a code to join our course. And this is the code you're going to copy and paste in there. And since I'm an instructor, I can't really walk you through this process, but there's instructions here. So register for My Math Lab with these instructions. If you need help with registering for My Math Lab, just click this and it'll take you step by step on the process. But basically what's going to happen is when you click this link, it's going to ask you either to sign into My Math Lab or register. And once you register, it's going to ask you to enroll in our course with this code. And once you do that, you'll never have to do it again. You'll automatically be linked to our class every single time. Okay? So try this after class. See how, if you need help, reach out. I can help you. The Learning Labs and the can help you also. Any tutor in the Learning Lab can help you with this. But once you do that, this is what it's going to look like. After you do this one time, then you can just click on this My Math Lab button, or you can click here through Access. You can click either one of these. So I'll just click this one since I'm here. Once you click it, it'll take you to our My Math Lab course. And, oh, I hear a little chime. Hold on. Oh, it automatically, you didn't need the access code, Corey? Same for you, Shanique. Oh, maybe the students who were in 0222 automatically got linked? Nice. Okay, so this is just for Sophia and Jesus and Rita. You're going to have to register for My Math Lab. Oh, cool. Wait, y'all, did it take you? Let's make sure it took us to the right course, not back to the 0222. So when you click that link and go to the course home one and make sure it took you to 0485. I hope I did this right. I'm learning all kinds of technology now that we're online. Oh, wow, it's being slow. I just want to make sure it's taking you into the 0485 course. So up at the top, is it saying 0485? Let me see. Yay, that's awesome. Okay. So 15 of y'all are going to go right in. 3 of y'all are going to, or wait, 5 of y'all are going to need to register. Okay. So for those of y'all, if you have struggle registering, you'll have to use that code. Like I said, it's a really straightforward process. I promise it's not hard. Yay. Well, that's great news. Yay, it's the right class. Okay, cool. So when you're in this class, this is how it's set up differently. Now, you're going to see all kinds of buttons here on my screen that you don't have, but you're going to see the course home. That's where we are right now. You're going to see an assignments button. You're going to see the eText button if you want to go to the eText, but I'm going to click assignments right now because the only thing you're going to do in MyMathLab is just homework. So remember for the 4-week course, we had that quiz set up that you took a quiz first and the quiz generated your homework. That's not happening for this 4 weeks. So I'm sorry, for this 12 weeks. This 12 weeks, we're only doing homework. Everyone's going to have the same homework. There are no quizzes at all on MyMathLab, only the take-home quizzes. Okay, so today you have 2 assignments. Oh, wait. Yes. So today you have 2 assignments. You're going to do the prerequisite review. So for those of y'all who took the 4-week course, this is going to seem familiar because it's everything we covered in the 4-week course, plus some percents we're doing today. For those of y'all new to the course, this is just making sure you remember all the prereq stuff. So let me click on this link just to emphasize something real quick. I'm going to pick a random question. This first assignment seems kind of long because the problems go so quickly. So, for example, here's a question we did in the 4-week course. In the 4-week course, you would have to show order of operations to get credit for this, right? You'd have to do PEMDAS. In this course, you can just type all of that into your calculator. So you're practicing more of like calculator skills. And if your calculator is programmed to do order of operations and you type it in your calculator correctly, you'll just get an answer. And that's okay in this course. I'm not going to grade PEMDAS in this course. And another thing, let me pull up some that have fractions, hopefully. I want a different type of fraction. These are just PEMDAS. This is just mainly practicing how to put stuff in your calculator. Let me jump over here to one that I think will have fractions. Fractions were towards the end of what we did. That is not a fraction. Oh, you know what? It scrambles the questions. So it's probably maybe one towards the beginning. Anyway, the point, on this one, fractions. So anything we do with fractions in this class, so for those of y'all who are new to this course, fractions, just use your calculator, y'all. There's a fraction button on your calculator. Use your calculator to add, subtract, multiply, divide fractions. I do not expect you to do that by hand. Even changing fractions between forms, you can use your calculator. So basically, if you're struggling on this prerequisite review assignment, email me. Come to office hours. I can help you with your calculator. But just calculator for these problems in the review. Okay. So today you're going to have 2 assignments on MyMathLab. You're going to have this prerequisite review that seems really long. And then there's another assignment about careful reading and math, and it's going to be much smaller. So this is the new material for everyone. See, there's only 9 questions. So most of the assignments will be shorter. That prerequisite review is longer because you're basically practicing calculator skills. And another great thing about MyMathLab, for those of y'all who haven't used it, you can, let me open up here. You can access all kinds of help tools. So I'm going to randomly pick a problem here off the prerequisite one because it'll have better help tools. So I just realized when I'm clicking on these, you're probably not seeing them. Let me see what you're seeing because it's a pop-up window. Okay, you're not. Oh man, sorry when I was just talking about the homework. Let me share the pop-up window real quick. Maybe. Oh, and there's something in the, oops, chat. Oh, okay, do homework. Sorry, let me see what the chat said real quick. Oh no. So there are a lot of 12-week courses starting today. Corey and Sophia said they keep getting kicked off and coming back on. The first day of class, lots of people are using Blackboard and it can overload the system. So if I disappear for a minute, I promise I'm coming back. This is being recorded, so if you do get kicked off, you can come back and watch the video. Sorry about that, Corey and Sophia. I'm glad you're back. Okay, so I pulled up a homework question here because I wanted to show you the help tools, but it is not. There it goes. Okay, so for those of y'all who are new to Blackboard, you can do a problem as many times as you need to get it right, and you can access help tools. So I'm going to get this problem wrong. I'm going to put 0. So I typed 0 as my answer. You have to be aware of this like small print in blue. Sometimes they give you extra instructions about rounding and stuff. But let's check my answer here, and it's wrong. So it's going to give me a rule here. Sometimes reading the rule helps, sometimes not. So let's say I need more help. I can go to question help, and there's all these tools here that'll help me work this question. Okay. So you can use all these tools, and I'm going to keep getting this question wrong. So I'm going to be stubborn. I'm going to keep checking this answer. You typically get 3 tries. Now my little icon at the bottom says final check. This is just to prevent lots of guessing. So once I get it wrong, it's going to tell me the correct answer and what I answered. If you click next question, you move on. If you click similar question, you can try it again with new numbers. I'm not going to click that real quick just to show you something. So right now, see how there's a red X on this question? So I'm going to pull down the screen here of all my questions. Maybe. So the question I just tried, question 23, there's a red X on it. I can redo this question until I get it right. So I'm going to come down here and click similar question. What? I'm going to go change that. I usually have it unlimited. That must have been a default. Your instructor has limited the number of times you can work this question to 2. No, that's wrong. I'm glad I'm doing this, y'all. Let me put that on my to-do list. Change. I need to change. Okay, so I need to change it. It should be unlimited times. Okay. Oops. Similar question. Okay, so I'll change that. But now it's going to give me a similar question. See how they're new numbers? And if I get it right this time, then it's going to change my red X to a green check mark. So excellent. So now I can see my check mark there. So essentially you can get 100 on every assignment. And you can work 5 questions now, save it, and come back later and work 10 questions later. You don't have to do it all in one sitting. Okay, that's the crash course on MyMathLab. So for those new to the course, are there any questions on MyMathLab or how to use MyMathLab? Or for those of y'all who are returning, I know it's set up differently. Are there any questions on the new setup? No, you feeling good? Okay, some happy faces. Okay, so Corey changed your status there. Lauren doesn't have any questions. Okay. So I think that's all the nitty gritty of the class. So let me go back and share. Yeah, there's a lot. You just read it saying, yeah, it's a lot, right? It's a lot all at once. The first day of class is always overwhelming, Rita, because you're seeing like everything is new. And the new people, if I'm ever going too fast or I'm glazing through something technical, please stop me, because this is a brand new course. It's just unique in the fact that 15 of the students are returning and 5 of the students are new. So if I'm going too fast, ask a question. I promise if you have a question, at least one other person has it. And maybe even a returning student has the same question. So deep breaths. Oh, and for those of y'all who are new, I just want to make sure that that y'all know that this class, let me just share a whiteboard real quick. I just want to make sure you're in the right class. So right now you are in, 0485. If you pass this class, you get TSI complete. So that's awesome. So passing this class will make you TSI complete, which is great. And then after this class, the only classes you can go to are Math 1332. So that's contemporary math. Or you can go to Math 1342 statistics. So this class is designed for the non-STEM track where you're either going to contemporary math or you're going to contemporary math or statistics. So we are on the non-STEM track. If you need college algebra, you're in the wrong class. Or if you need business math, you're in the wrong class. So I just want to say that right now to make sure you get to the class you need to be in, because I think it's only today and tomorrow that are the add drops. So make sure you're on the non-STEM track. If you just need to be TSI complete, getting a C or higher in this class, we'll do that, you're done. If you are moving on to another class, make sure it's a non-STEM class. So math, this class does not go, well, that's bad. Arrow. I'll mark it out in red. Does not go to college algebra. That's Math 1314. And it does not go to business math. That's Math 1315? 25? I don't know. Business math. My brain is blinking on the number right there. This is business. This is college algebra. Okay, any questions about that? About this being a non-STEM class? No? Everyone on the right track? Okay. Cool. And if you have any questions, you can talk to me after class or you talk to an advisor. Just want to make sure everyone's on the right path for the new students who came in. Okay, y'all, are you ready let's just do some math. Let's just see what math is going to look like in this class. Like, what in the world are we doing in here? Okay, so I'm going to pull up our first set of notes here. So I'm going to turn my camera off because I keep getting the red symbol. I don't want to get kicked off for low bandwidth. So give me 1 second. I'm going to pull up our notes. So these are the 1.1 notes on reading and mathematics that I'm pulling up. And just heads up, when a student struggles in 0485, it's almost never with the math. Okay? It's almost always with reading, being a careful reader. So that's where students struggle, or with time management. This is an accelerated course. So instead of teaching it over 16 weeks, we're condensing it down to 12 weeks. So it's fast paced, y'all. And you're going to have to devote a lot of time, like outside of class, to working on the My Math Lab homework, to doing take home quizzes. You're going to have to devote time outside of class to going to the learning lab or seeing our instructional associates or coming to my office hours. So I just want to say that right off the bat. This class takes a lot of time. So keep that in mind when, sorry, Blackboard is running really slow. So keep that in mind moving forward. It's not the math that trips people up. It's reading, careful reading. We do a lot of word problems in this class and time management. Okay, so I'm going to pull something up on the screen and then we're going to talk about it together. And then I'm going to break us out into groups because I want you to have a chance to talk this one out in groups here. But we're going to start off just by careful reading in math class. Careful reading. And just heads up, I am the slowest reader on the planet. Like my biggest fear is when I'm in a meeting with my boss, with my department chair, and she like hands something out for us to read and wants to talk about it right away. Like I have panic attacks because I have to read things and reread them, and I'm super slow reader. I finally have started asking her. It was embarrassing, but I had to ask. I'm like, can you please email stuff out before class? I mean, before our meetings, so I can read it first, and then because I just get so nervous, and when I get nervous, I read like my reading is even worse. So if you know that like you're a slow reader or need to reread things, or if English isn't your first language, this class is just going to be more time consuming for you because it's not your typical math class. It's a lot of reading. Okay. So these are our first set of notes. It's about reading in math, reading and writing in math. It's different than reading and writing in other classes. Little details can make huge impact on the mathematical meaning of something. Okay, so in a minute, I'm going to put you into breakout groups, and you're going to introduce yourselves, and then you're going to talk about this problem. I'm going to share this problem with y'all. So here's the problem. You're reading for details in this problem. So I made up 2 job postings, job A and job B. And when you read job A and you read job B, some things are going to be similar and some things are going to be different. So in your groups, you're going to talk about that. You're going to give everyone some time to read. Okay, so you're going to give some time to read. When I break you into groups, you're going to say hi to each other, introduce each other, and then give yourself some time to read. And then you're going to talk about big picture ideas. So what do these 2 jobs have in common? And then part B is going to ask about differences. So how are they different? And I'm going to let y'all talk about those in groups, and then we're going to come back and recap and then talk about different types of reading in math. Okay. So any questions about what you're going to do before I pop you into groups? No? Okay. When I put you into groups, at first, I just want you to say, hi, I'm so-and-so, and I'm going to send some questions for y'all to talk about just in your group so you get to know who's in your group, and then I'll send this file for y'all to read, okay? So, and these are just randomly assigned groups. So I'm just going to break us up into groups here. I'm going to put 3 people in each group. Okay, so here we go. You're going to break into groups. It's kind of weird. Break into, and I'm going to be popping into the groups randomly to say hi to you guys. And if you need me, raise your hand and I'll pop into your group. Okay, here we go.
For like the second part, the main difference that I noticed was that where it says must be able to lift 80 pounds, and then the second one says must be able to at least lift 80 pounds.
Yeah, big difference, right? So, right. Which job do you have to lift more?
A, right?
Let's see. Well, A, oh God, let me read it. Must be able to lift 80 pounds. So the person in job A has to lift 80. Oh, at least, that's one of those tricky words from the 4-week course. When you see the word least, it makes you think less, but at least means whatever they lift. If it's at least 80, 80 is the smallest it could be. Yeah, that's the minimum. Yeah. Cool.
So it means like you have to at least lift, because it sounds like you would lift less than 80, but it's actually saying you would have to lift more than 80 pounds, so the B job would be harder.
Exactly. So it's a minimum of 80 pounds on that one. Yeah. See how if you miss that in the careful reading, and then like it's going to be embedded in this word problem, and then later you try to do a calculation and you get it wrong, like it's so easy to misread stuff, right? So yeah, that at least, adding that one little word there, or those 2 words, at least, totally changes the job. So, right. So cool. Thanks, Lauren. So let's see. I think there was another hand raised for Rita. What was another difference? Oh, Rita, I can't hear you. Okay, Rita, we'll come back to you. Oh.
Hello?
I hear you now, Rita. Hi.
Yeah. Hi. The main difference I saw is the same as my colleague said, that must be able to lift 80 pounds and must be able to lift at least 80 pounds.
Yeah, and it makes a huge difference. Yeah. Did you see any other difference in the 2 jobs?
And the other is weekends or holidays, and weekends and holidays.
Yeah, that's a huge difference, right? So tell me how they're different, Rita.
Yeah. So the A job says you it's either you can choose to work
Hmm.
all is not compulsory, but the B makes it compulsory, like it's a must and it should work. You can choose that you work on weekends or holiday, or but this one you should.
Exactly. Yeah, thank you, Rita. And in Unit 1 is a problem solving unit, y'all. There's a whole section on Venn diagrams, and the word or versus the word and completely changes your Venn diagram. So that careful reading, slowing your brain down to pick up on those differences is going to be super important. Okay, thank you, Rita. And the last difference, y'all, is yeah, thank you. The last difference is so tricky. Did anyone see the last one? You raise your hand and tell us. Okay, let's see. Oh, Shanique, did you see the other difference?
It's the A says must agree to work 24-hour shifts, and B is 24-hour shifts.
I know. Isn't that tricky, y'all? There's the missing hyphen. What?
Oh
So
yes.
isn't that tricky? So Shanique, which one? Like, what does it mean when they're all hyphenated together? Do you know? Versus when only the 4 hour is hyphenated. Do you feel comfortable explaining the difference?
Is it just I don't know. I don't have a good explanation.
No, it's okay. It's tricky, right? So when words are hyphenated together, it
Oh,
groups it all together. So when a job A is like one long 24-hour shift. Like basically you're on call for 24 hours. Where when only the 4 hour shift is together, there's going to be 20 separate 4 hour shifts.
and four.
Isn't that tricky?
Okay. It is.
It's tricky. I'm telling you. And that's why I said in this class, it's not the math that gets students. Basically, in this class, y'all, we're adding, subtracting, multiplying, and dividing, and we're solving one-step equations. It's the reading that's going to get us. It's tricky. Are there any questions or comments about any of these differences? Yeah. Right? It's like, what? Yeah. Corey says she's feeling good. It was, Tony, it was tricky. And I made these jobs up, right? So, like, I made it super tricky just to emphasize when you get an answer wrong on my math lab, it's almost never because the math is wrong. It's almost always because you read the question wrong. So just keep that in mind when you get something wrong in my math lab. Slow your brain down, and the first thing you should ask yourself is, did I read it correctly? I promise the math you did was right. It's probably the reading. Okay, so there's another activity on this page, and we're not going to do it in groups. We're just going to do it together. We're going to kind of just talk about it. So the other activity is we're going to get into statistics later. And statistics has a lot of reading, like a ridiculous amount of reading. That's for Unit 2, but I just want to plant a seed now. Of course, she needs her glasses. I hear you. I should wear glass. I own glasses. It's just like information overload if I wear them. Like, I don't need to see someone's freckles. Like, that's a little much, So I don't wear them as much as I should. I should probably wear them when I'm driving and stuff. But anyway, okay, I got distracted. So when we get to statistics, you're going to be given this big paragraph to read. And you're going to have to like weed through the information. And sometimes little differences are important, like they were before. And sometimes they're not. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to read both of these paragraphs out loud. And as I'm reading, try to identify as many little differences as you can. And then we're going to talk about whether they really make a big impact. So we're not going to spend too much time on this, but I'm going to read the first one. And then as I read the second paragraph, see what differences there are. Okay, so here's the first one. Psychologist Bernie Silverman of Michigan State University tested the effect of astrological compatibility on marriages. He surveyed astrologers across the country So astrologers are like your sign. Are you a Virgo? Are you a Capricorn? Those kind of things. So he surveyed astrologers across the country on the compatibility of the 12 zodiac signs, Virgo, Capricorn, all that. In studying 2,978 marriage and divorce records, marriage and 478 divorce records in Michigan, Dr. Silverman found couples whose marriages were made in horoscope heaven, united and split up just as frequently as those who are not astrologically compatible. That is a lot of words. Oh my gosh. If you're like me, you probably heard like blah, 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 2,978, blah, blah. Like, that's how my brain is. So you're going to have to read really carefully. Okay. But now that you've kind of heard that, on the next one, I'm going to read, and as I read, I'm going to underline the differences. Okay. So psychologist Bernie Silverman of Minnesota State University tested the effects of astrological compatibility on several marriages versus just marriages. Yeah. So he interviewed instead of surveyed. Okay, so let's just stop right here. So far, the only big difference is Michigan versus Minnesota. So that could have an impact, right? Like, I don't know, maybe, those states are both in the north, kind of Midwest, northern. So maybe, I don't know, but saying surveyed versus interviewed doesn't really impact anything. So sometimes our brains can get like really tripped up on these little details that don't matter. So you have to train your brain. When does a detail matter? And when is it not that important to the problem, okay? So I'm going to keep reading. So he interviewed astrologers across the country about the compatibility of the 12 zodiac signs. When studying versus in studying, not really important. Yeah. But the numbers are the same, right? So the same number of marriages, the same number of divorces. Okay. In Minnesota, he found that couples, whose marriages were made in horoscope heaven, united and split up just as frequently. Okay, so even though there were little subtle differences, did they really impact the fact that your zodiac sign doesn't affect if you get divorced or not? No, right? So don't get too caught up in details, but make sure that if there are differences, like ask yourself, is it important? Does it affect the big picture idea or not? Okay, so I'm not going to spend a lot of time on this activity. Normally, when we're face-to-face, I have you read them and underline, but virtually, it's kind of hard to do that. But the big idea here is like, when you read something, read it two ways. The first time you read it, big picture idea. What are they even talking about? They're talking about looking at marriages, looking at the horoscopes. Are they Virgos? Are they Capricorns? Are they Taurus? Are they Leo? And seeing whether or not they got divorced. That's the big picture idea. Then you read it again for little details and ask yourself, okay, are those details impacting what's happening? So just read things two ways in this class. Big picture, details. Big picture, details. Okay. And the last little activity in this class, and I'm going to go ahead and mute some. I hear a lot of feedback. I don't know if you hear buzzing, but I hear it on my end. So, Rita, I'm going to mute you just because I hear like some buzzing on my ends. Like sometimes there's like feedback. So I'm going to mute you, but feel free to unmute at any time. Anytime, feel free to unmute. Okay, so the other kind of careful reading you have to do in this class is careful reading of math symbols. Careful reading of math symbols. Okay, so here we are with some math symbols that we need to read really carefully. So what is the difference between this symbol and 444 divided by this symbol 6 versus having the symbol between the numbers? It's the same symbol, but do they have the same meaning? Yeah, so one meaning is what? Let's see. Let's write what the meaning is here. I'm going to rewrite this. So in 444 divided by -6, what is the I just said out loud. What's the meaning of that symbol? It's negative, right? It's describing the 6 as being negative. But in the second expression, it's subtraction. So you're going to have to slow your brain down and ask yourselves, what are these symbols representing? And we did this in the 4-week course with other symbols. Remember the difference between less than versus is less than? It had different symbols. So if I say 10 less than X versus 10 is less than X, remember how that was different? So what was the difference in that? I'm going to give you a second to try to translate those. So don't put it in the screen or anything. Translate 10 less than X versus 10 is less than X on a scratch piece of paper somewhere. Okay, normally I'd have y'all type on the screen, but I didn't have time to do a PowerPoint today, so you can't type on the screen. But for the first one, 10 less than X, here less than means to subtract. So I would take 10 off of what? 10 less than what? 10 less than X, whatever X is, right? 10 less than the weight, 10 less than yesterday's amount, 10 less than something we don't know, right? But if you see is less than, 10 is less than X, then it's a different symbol. So that careful reading of mathematics, we practice that in the 4-week course, and it's in that prerequisite assignment you're going to practice on MyMathLab. So if you're new to the course, you're going to practice this careful reading of math symbols. But the main ones for this course are when do you have a negative versus when is it subtraction, because they're different keys on your calculator. The subtraction key is different than your negative key. So look at your calculator right now if you have one out. And I just want you to draw what they look like on your calculator. So I'm going to draw what they look like on my calculator. My subtraction key looks like this, but my negative key has it in parentheses. So find those buttons on your calculator. And they might look different on yours. And if you have any questions on where the negative button is on your calculator versus the subtraction, like some calculators, the negative button looks like this. It's like a plus/minus. So that was really messy, but just know how to locate the negative button on your calculator versus the subtraction, because how you type this into your calculator is important. And again, I don't care if you know how to do this by hand. In this course, it's not going to impact you too much if you understand how to do this, like with the rules versus just your calculator. It's helpful to know the difference, but the important thing is using your calculator. Okay, so I heard a chime, so let me pop over to the classroom here. So Corey said, okay. So the calculator listed in the syllabus, let me show you what it looks like real quick, because it was on sale for $9.99 at Walmart the other day. The pretty colors too, but let me just Google it. It's the TIX II30. Oh wait, I might. The TI. There it is. This one. Okay. Ooh, it's on sale for $8 at Walmart today, y'all. In pink. What? Here, let me blow this one up so you can see it. Oh, I just realized I'm not sharing my screen. Let me go back and share that. Oh my gosh, Blackboard is so slow today. Sorry, y'all. I thought I was sharing my screen. Hold on real quick. Share application. Window. Oh, here it is. Okay. So I did a Google search. So there's the calculator popping up, and it's on sale at Walmart right now for $8. It's the pink one. So here it is at, oh, but then when I clicked on it, did it not pop up at Walmart? Oh, here it is. Oh, it's down here. Oh, now, what? Now it's saying $10.97. That's false advertising. Anyway, this is what it looks like. And just to blow up my buttons here. So you can see there's a subtraction button in my operations line. And then there's a negative button by the equal sign. So they're different on my calculator. And every calculator is different. So I'm just emphasizing with this, make sure you know how to use your calculator. And this calculator has this fraction button right here that looks like a mixed number. Your calculator might have a different fraction button, but know how to use that fraction button. God, do they have to pick like the scariest thing ever to put on the screen for the advertisement? They're trying to scare you into buying their calculator. It did say $8 over there, right? So it's saying $8 here. But then when I click on it, anyway, sorry. I'm sorry. See, look how easy it is to go down a rabbit hole on the internet. Okay, I'm sorry. I'm wasting class time. So any questions about this careful reading or how to use your calculator? They'll probably price match. Yeah, probably. I know, right? They better. That's false advertising. Seriously. Okay. I thought $8 was a really, really good price, but you know, there's a whole bunch of school supplies that I'm sure they ordered like, you know, a year ago. And now that a lot of classes aren't face to face, you can use, you can use virtual. Let me show you real quick. There's a Desmos if you're waiting, and I guess we could use this on the test too. Hey, I just thought about that. Handheld calculators are easier to use, especially if you're going on to statistics or Math 1332. I highly suggest getting this calculator. But there is Desmos. It's a free calculator. So let me just show y'all what this looks like. Desmos is known for their graphing. Oh, site can't be reached. Oh, I forgot a W. Desmos is known for their like amazing graphing calculator. But if you go to Math Tools, they also have a scientific calculator. So this is just desmos.com. And so you could use this on a test. I mean, we're taking our class virtually, right? So it's just a little bit harder to type sometimes, but like, does this not have a negative button? I don't know. Let me see. Let's see. If I do 10 minus -2. Okay, yeah, so this one, on this calculator, the negative sign and the subtraction sign are the same. Huh, that's interesting. Because if I take away a negative, I take away debt, I add it back, so I should get 12. Yeah, okay. Anyway, I digress. Okay, cool. So any questions about this careful reading or the calculator before we jump into percents? Feeling good? And y'all, this is a really long class. Yeah, it's so long. It's 2 hours and 25 minutes. So at any time, if you need to walk away, you can. Sometimes I'll put in a 10-minute break. Like, let's all come back, you know, at 1:30 or something. Do y'all need a break right now, or do y'all want to move on to percents? I don't know how you're feeling. So do y'all want to take a 10-minute break and come back at 1:30? Or you want to just push on? Oh, I should send out a vote. Let's do a poll so we can practice a poll. For either. Okay, we're going to take a break, but just so we can practice a poll. Do you need a 10-minute break? Okay. Just since we're in the, so I'm sending this out here. Do you need oh, y'all are getting the behind the scenes with how this looks here. Do you need a 10-minute break? Oh, and y'all can see the responses in real time here. And the polls are anonymous during class. After class, I can pull up a report to see who answered what. So if I give a quiz via poll, that way I can track your answers to see who needs help or not. When I give a quiz via poll, it's a participation grade. So don't feel like, oh, God, I'm going to get it wrong. Okay, so most people are saying they want a break. Let's meet back at 1:30. 1:30, I'll put this in the chat. And then when we meet back, we're going to talk about percentages. Okay, so let me type in the chat. We're going to meet back at 1:30. Okay, so break time, meet back at, and you can stay logged into the room if you want. Break time, we'll meet back at 1:30, and at 1:30, we'll do percents. Okay. you did such a good job. I'm so proud of you. Oh my gosh, I'm so pleased. And I go to the alligator. Nothing to do already, so. Next day, the picture. Oh my gosh, you did? Cool. Okay, Mary made me happy. Weapon. And what else? Is it cool? What? That is so awesome, buddy. I mean, is it cool? It's cool. And you use what? We're going to do what? Alligator looks like right now. Oh my gosh! I cannot believe you're doing this. And oh my gosh, that's so cool. Okay, now that's cool. And Mom, I could even do it. Yeah. Here, hey, are you hungry? Do you need to chicken nuggets? I didn't. Are you hungry? So let me check out a log down. I'm not. Yeah, that's fine. Well, my students are on it. I gave them a 10-minute break. It's such a long class. How long is it? Forever long. Okay, why does it say that? That might be the problem. So follow. I can write passcode. Okay, try the passcode. I'm gonna watch you. Do you want to watch me? No? Yes. Buddy, I think you were typing it in right. I just forgot to have the top part in there. The top part got erased. It's usually in there, but so I want you to type it right. Oh, yeah, Lilith, that is spelled it. That's why. It looks like I is what it is. Then you uppercase. You still have 2 minutes. Do you want some cold water stuff? No. And are you gonna get your nuggets then? Even Bill's is playing all by itself. I know he's showing me. I'm not. Makes me happy that I bought more like that's yeah, these small ones. Yeah, those are great. I never see two apples. Yeah, and then the difference between that and the 100 steps, which is a few more steps, it's not any harder. It's just a little longer. Yeah, I was just saying these smaller ones, it's not that they're easier, it's just fun to do something and finish it. You know? I didn't learn about the bots. Oh, bots. Both bots. That's okay. What did I do? Wait, I want to do 2 minutes. What's that leg one? How many pencils did you sharpen today, sir? One. This all came from one pencil? Oh, still. Oh, that's why. You opened that? With this one? Okay, so at this point, you can go ahead and type your answer anywhere on the screen. You can use the little capital T tool at the top, and then either write quiz 1 or quiz 2 somewhere on the screen. So I have a vote for quiz 2. I have another vote for quiz 2. Any other votes? Oh, and when you type on the screen, it's completely anonymous. I never have a way of going back and finding out who said what. So just keep that in mind. Okay, got a lot of votes for quiz 2. Any quiz 1 votes out there? Okay, quiz 2. Okay, so let's talk about how we know which quiz he did better on. I got 1 vote for quiz 1, a lot of votes for quiz 2. Okay, so here's the deal with percents. Oops, sorry. I'm going to erase all the answers off the screen by clicking the eraser that I say never click. Got another vote for quiz 1. Okay, 2 people thinking quiz 1. Oh, another vote for quiz 1. Okay, so mostly quiz 2's, got some quiz 1's. Anyone else want to put an answer on the board? I won't know if it's you or not, but... Okay. Okay, so I'm going to clear these off. Let's see what it is. So I'm going to start by just using fractions. So let's talk about quiz 1 as a fraction. So there are 40 total points on the test. So that's the denominator of my fraction, because the denominator tells you how many make up one whole, and it's one whole test. So 40 points make up one whole test. And he got 34 correct out of 40. But on quiz 2, he only got 21 correct out of 25. And right now, these fractions are really hard to compare. So if it had been this, if he had gotten 20 points out of 25 versus 21 points out of 25, see how those are really easy to compare? You know right away that he did better if he got 21 out of 25, right? Like when the denominators are the same, when the whole part, the denominator is the same, they're really easy to compare. But now I have 34 out of 40, and that's a different denominator than 21 out of 25. So these are hard to compare the way they're written. So luckily we have different ways to write fractions. One of the ways is decimals, and decimals are related to percents. So the great thing about a percent, we're going to talk about this in more detail in a minute, but when you're given a percent, all percents mean some number out of 100. So if you have X percent, that means X out of 100. So if you're comparing a percent to another percent, they have the same denominator. It's always out of 100. And if they have the same denominator, it's easy to compare. The hard case is like when they don't have the same denominator. So what we can do, one thing we can do is change these fractions to decimals. So on your calculator, you probably have a fraction to decimal button, or oh, you can't hear. Oh, can anyone else hear me? Okay, Corey, can you hear me? Jesus, if you can't hear, oh, you can't hear me. Let me type this in the chat. Okay. I'm just telling him to try logging out and logging back in because sometimes I can't hear and that helps me. Yeah, sometimes I can't hear students when they unmute, and if I log out of the room and come back, then I can hear. I'll try to stall for a minute so he can come back in. Yeah, that's what I'm going to do. I'm going to wait for a minute. Thank you, Corey. Yeah, Blackboard is being persnickety today. Okay, hopefully they had a chance to come back in. If not, this is being recorded, so. Okay. So here we go. So, Jesus, you only should, for 1 second, so I'm going to tell him in the chat. To log out and just come directly back in. Oh, one word. Back together. Yes, we were saying that when denominators are different, the fractions are hard to compare. But luckily, we can change those to decimals. So I'm going to do the numerator divided by the denominator to get my decimal value. So let me go ahead and do that in my calculator and get that decimal value real quick. So 34 divided by 40. So when I do that, I get 0.85. And then I'm going to do 21 divided by 25 in my calculator. And when I do that, I get 0.84. Oh, what? So even it's super counterintuitive, right? But he did slightly better on quiz 1. This was quiz 1, slightly better, not by much, by 1 point. But see how much easier it is to compare when they're in decimal format? And percents just are a form of a decimal. It's a different way to write a decimal, and we're going to practice this in a minute. But we'll see in a minute that this number is read 85 hundredths because the 5 is in the hundredths place. So if you have 85 hundredths, I'm going to write up here, 85 hundredths, 85 out of 100 is 85%. So quiz 1, he made an 85, he got 85. And then on quiz 2, he got 84%. And we're going to practice all this. But if you have percents automatically have common denominators. And if fractions have common denominators, they're easier to compare. That's the main idea we're taking away from this, okay? So I know for some of y'all, percents, you might be comfortable with them, especially if you work in retail or have a job that involves, finances somehow. For some of y'all, percents, you might be really rusty. So we're going to start from the ground up. Today, we're just doing a basic introduction to percents. Now, Thursday, we're going to do percent word problems. So you really have to understand the basic idea of changing a fraction to a decimal to a percent back and forth, and these basic calculations we're about to do. So at any point, if you have a question, stop me and ask me to elaborate. Because if you have a question, I promise other people do too. So let's talk about these